Welcome to the Research Like a Pro with DNA question and answer series. I'm Nicole Dyer. Today's video is about using artificial intelligence tools to help with creating DNA citations. First, I'll share how I've created a custom AI expert with Google's Gemini model. These Gemini experts are called Gemini Gems. I've created a simple expert that can create a citation for any article online. I just simply paste the URL. Then in the next part, I will share about using Airtable to create citations for DNA matches. I'll discuss Airtable and its AI functions, so hopefully this will help you decide whether to use Airtable and their AI integrations. Enjoy the video.
Well, today I want to talk about AI and DNA citations. And the theme for this office hours session is the third lesson of Research Like a Pro with DNA, where we are building a timeline and analyzing the sources that we already have at the start of a project. So putting them into the research log, putting that in order in a timeline so that we have all of the data and events that happen that are relevant to our research project all in one place, chronological. Well, part of that is making citations. And in the DNA study group, we also take some time to learn about making DNA citations. And what are DNA citations, you might be asking? Well, I'm showing on the screen here our Airtable template. One of the tables is citation templates with some ideas of DNA citations that you can practice. And so we have filled in one for you, which is an example of doing a citation for a DNA book that gives DNA background info. So that's the category. And sometimes when you're writing a report, you need to cite a book or a blog post that gives context about genetics or genetic genealogy. And these kind of citations are important to do. But those are the easiest kind. But what's harder to do is a citation to a DNA match or an ethnicity estimate, a GEDmatch one-to-one comparison, or a genetic affairs auto cluster report, and all the different things here. So when we do this lesson, we encourage you to practice making some of these types and to save what you create here so that anytime you need to create another citation that's similar, you'll have an example. You've already decided how you want to do that citation, so you're ready to go. And so I've been pondering how can AI help us make these citations? And some examples of times when we might need to make a citation about an ethnicity estimate or a chromosome browser. When we log the tools that we're using, that's when we need to make the citations, because in our research log table here, there's a place to put a citation for the source we used. And we're probably very familiar now with putting sources that are documents like census records, wills, tax records, and that kind of thing. But what do we do when we use an ethnicity estimate or a through lines hypothesis? How do we cite that? And do we need to? Well, just like any other source, creating a citation forces us to understand the source, who created it, and its reliability. So it is important to do that. And after we set up these citation templates, then we can use them for others. Now, AI can help us, once we set up a template, to apply that consistently to future sources of the same type or in that same category. So maybe we just make one type of citation that will work with any DNA tool or any DNA report. Then we can set up a custom GPT or Gemini Gem or Claude skill that we can then use for each of those categories. Let me tell you what I mean by that. For example, in the large language model called Gemini by Google, similar to ChatGPT, you can create an expert, they call a gem, that's really good at doing one particular task. And you give it instructions and examples, and then you tell it, anytime I do this, I want you to give me this output. So in this one that I created for making the citations for articles, I gave it an example of a source citation in footnote and source list format. And then I said, anytime I give you a URL to a blog post or a YouTube video or a Family Search Wiki article, I want you to create a citation following evidence explained in Chicago manual style. And I want them always to be consistent, matching my example. So now anytime I need to make a citation for an article anywhere online or even videos on YouTube, I just paste the URL here and it reads my instructions and gives me the output that I wanted. It's been very helpful in the last few weeks as I've been creating various handouts and slides for presentations. Here's an example of how it works. So I'm just going to paste an article here just the URL, and then it's going to read my instructions, read my example, think for a little bit, and give me the answer. And so here you can see, based on the article you provided and the current date of March 12th, here are the citations formatted according to your examples. Reference note, Roberta Estes. What is sibling? What is a sibling anyway? So there's the title, blog post, the date that the blog was published, that blog post, the title of the website, and then the URL and the access date. Then it has it formatted a little bit different if you're doing a bibliography or source list. So this is extremely helpful. And what's great about the tools, the Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude, they can go read that URL if it's on the public internet and get this information out for you. So you really don't have to do hardly any work, just get that URL pasted in. All right, here's another example of using AI to help you with citations. So in the Research Like a Pro with DNA study group, we start logging our DNA matches in the first table in Airtable, which is the DNA match details. And I added a field called created time so that I would then have the date that I looked at this match. And what was kind of fun, I created this base a long time ago, but um, it had kept the underlying information about when I added these matches to the base. So when I added the created time field, it just showed me when I actually added that row, which was nice. So that's going to become the access date in the citation I'm going to create. So all of the information that we enter here can be used to create a citation. So we have person one, person two, we have the database where the match occurred, the amount that they share, and as we scroll over, some more information. And so now I'll show you how I created a citation right within my Airtable base from this info. So scrolling all the way over here, I created a new field called Citation DNA Match Page AI. And when you look at the way that I set up the field, you can see that it's a field agent using AI. And the model is GPT 5.2. And I put in the instructions to create a citation following this example and using these fields. Then when I click Run Agent, it gathers information from that row and puts it all together in the way that my example was. So you can see the citation is generated for me in about 5 seconds following my example and using the data I input without me having to type this all out, copy and paste. So that was pretty slick. And I will say that AI does a really good job following examples. So once you've created one good citation, then you're all set because now you can have AI help you create the rest in that consistent way. One of the benefits of using AI within Airtable is that you don't have to take your data out of Airtable or bring it back in when you're done. In the past, we might have taken, a screenshot and put it in ChatGPT and then make a citation and bring it back. We don't do any copy and pasting anymore. And another benefit is the enterprise grade privacy. When AI is incorporated into tools like Airtable, you can read their privacy policies, and they're usually much stronger than using the consumer level account of ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. Unless you're paying for enterprise level access to ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, you're not getting that privacy. And most of us are paying the $20 a month for the consumer level or the free plan. And in those plans, they train on your data by default. And so unless you know how to go in and turn that off, which everyone can learn how to do, you might have that challenge or risk of sharing private DNA data. Now, these are all anonymized names that I made up for this Airtable template, but we want to use AI to help us with our actual DNA matches so we can put them into our actual reports. And Airtable is a great place to use AI to do that because they ensure us that they're using this strong privacy and that the AI models that are being used are not being given any of our data to train their underlying model. And then the great thing now, when Airtable first started incorporating AI, you could only use it if you had a paid plan, but now free Airtable users get 500 credits every month. They don't roll over. So if you use them all up in that month, then you have to wait till the month starts again and you get 500 more. But so doing something like this takes AI credits to read the example and give me the output. So this might have taken like 2 to 5 credits, I'm guessing, because it's kind of a short output. But then if you have a longer prompt and a longer output, it'll take more credits. could be 15 or 20, depending on the length. If you're not sure how many credits you're using in Airtable, you can go to your workspace settings. It's by workspace, not by base. And you can have a free workspace and then you can have a paid workspace. So I have a paid workspace on the Teams plan, which is just the next up from free. And you can see I've used 1,000 out of my 15,000 monthly AI credits. So I'm not really scratching the surface yet on using my AI credits. But that's on a paid plan. On the free plan, you only get 500. So if I were on the free plan, all the testing and playing around I've been doing in the last month, I would have used it up pretty quickly. So just be aware of, pressing run agent on all of your things if you're on the free plan, because you can use them up quickly. All right, are there any questions about using AI within Airtable or Gemini for DNA citations?
Yes, we have some great
I'll go back.
questions and comments. Um, so let's see. Let's start with citation template is what I need for DNA matches. Is it in the book? And so I answered that yes, we do have many sample templates in the book, Research Like a Pro with DNA, with examples of how to, create those citations.
Yeah, and I can even go back and show you exactly what template I used and how I kind of put it together. Elizabeth Schoen Mills had come out with a little laminated quick sheet about citing DNA matches, and it's kind of out of date, but it gives you the principles. Of course, I'm sure it's in her newest edition of
Mm-hmm.
Evidence Explained, like citing a DNA match. But yeah, should we go back to that real quick?
Yeah, I think it's
Let's
just
see.
good to just take a look at that.
I'm trying to see where I did it. Okay, it's probably just in the middle of this that I need to pause it. So let's see. So get ready to pause so I can zoom in. Okay, so here in the prompt, and I didn't get a chance to explain this, so this is good because it went by so fast. But in the custom instructions for this field agent, which uses AI, the instructions I gave it were create a DNA match page citation for the match between these two individuals. Here's the example. So DNA match between Nicole Dyer and Diana Elder, then ancestry. So that would be the company. So it's basically the two people, the company, and then the URL. Let me see if I can, oh, and then let's just go down here. Below this, you can see DNA match between Nicole Dyer and Garen Hollingsworth, and then this is a MyHeritage match. And the only thing that this citation isn't doing is it's not italicized. So when I transfer this citation out, I would italicize MyHeritage or Ancestry. Those are the publishers of the DNA match page. So publishers are italicized. Then the URL of the match page, and then the access date. And then after that, usually there's some kind of like specific information about how much DNA they're sharing. And sometimes you can put the estimated relationship there. This particular one doesn't have it. And that's probably because I didn't put a relationship in this row. I didn't put that for all of them because sometimes we log a DNA match and we don't know the relationship. So let me zoom back out and then I'll have it keep going and then repause it. Okay, so at the end of the citation example for my mom and I, you can see it says sharing 3,465 centimorgans, estimated mother. And you could also put estimated fourth through sixth cousin, whatever it is. So that's kind of the simple example of a basic DNA match page citation that I wanted to use. And then after that, the instructions I gave to this field agent were to create a similar citation and use the following fields in the row: person one, person two, the amount of centimorgans, the test type, and so forth.
Right. One other thing that I know sometimes we've done on our DNA citations is ask or have the number of segments, like
Mhm.
43 centimorgans across 3 segments or something, which that data we
Yes.
also have right there in
Yeah,
the
I didn't add
the
that. And that's a
road.
really good idea because we
Mm-hmm.
always type that in
Mm-hmm.
and we might as well include that in the citation.
Right.
So I
Right.
had to actually update this a couple times already And because I forgot a couple things the first time around. So yeah, I need to go back in and update the instructions. And then if you do update the instructions, you can click that little refresh button and it will rerun the agent.
I think
And
that's just
yeah,
brilliant. I love that.
you can see these ones didn't have the relationship yet because I forgot to add that at first. So
Well, and notice that it says it gives you that. Why is it giving that error there? So that,
required fields are empty or unavailable.
mhm.
Oh,
So some just to the left of Don Jones, it says error. And that's
where?
probably because there's not enough data there. It's
I
the
don't
Z
see. Oh,
score.
that's the
Yeah,
z-score. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I don't remember why that has an error, but if you try to do a formula and you don't put in any data, it will probably give you an
hmm
error.
You get something like that. It's just what happens. So what I wondered was if you could open up Omni, the AI built in, and say, I want to add an agent to create a DNA match. Just tell me how to do it, if it would give you
Oh,
an
yes, that's a
idea.
good idea. That's what Omni's for. And so, if anyone doesn't know, this button right here is for Omni, and that's the built-in chatbot for AI that's within Airtable. So, think of these as custom GPTs, these field agents. And then think of the Omni sidebar. When you open this up, you can type questions about your data. You can have it extract things about your data. You can have it write paragraphs about your data. Think of that as like the built-in chatbot for your Airtable base.
It's really good. And there's, as with all AI, you can just ask it questions about what it can do, and it can help you figure out things for what to do with Airtable.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.